too, but just evaluation, especially being the secondary play.
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. The starts with the safeties, Cam Curl, Quentin Lake, just making tackles all over the field. Great communication, great execution. It was great to have D. Will back. I thought he had looked really good, looked really smooth, looked like the D. Will that we've always known and loved. The Kobe Durant was great. So, obviously Jalen McCullough. So you can go on, but yeah, they were really good.
I know sometimes it'll vary game plan to game plan, but already looks with your adjustments you guys made. You guys are playing stickier. Guys are making plays on the ball. What communication or what kind of confidence is that in a group of still developing players?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Once you have a little bit of success, now you can go out and and start playing a little more free. And I think that hopefully it's what's happened. Hopefully that's what's going to continue to happen. But it's all them. They've continued to put in the work. The process has been right, and usually when that happens, over the course of my time in the NFL, the results tend to start showing on the field.
You guys have brought more and more pressure throughout the season. What's kind of the thought process behind ramping that up a little bit as the season's gone on?
It's a week-to-week thing. Like any team, you're always trying to affect the quarterback in any different ways, and obviously pressuring the QB is really the number one thing to affect him. So whether you got to do that with 4, whether you got to do that with more or bring less, you're going to do whatever is best to win that week.
What's that like for you as a first-year coordinator to have a game where your unit really, I know it's a team game, but your unit really decided the outcome with its play in terms of creating turnovers?
Yeah, it's anytime you get 4 turnovers, that's always going to be a good thing. It was great. It was great to get a win, and I really don't care. It's always good to play well, and you don't really care how you win as long as you win. So, really happy we won, and obviously had to move on pretty quick after.
To be able to get a game ball though for that performance, did that have any special meaning to you, especially with some of the challenges you guys have faced early in the season?
Yeah, it was special. For the guys, and it really goes back to the players. I'm just so happy for them that you just see all the hard work that they put in to see some tangible results happen for them on the field. That's really what it's about, and that was definitely a special moment.
We see Justin Jefferson as a guy often requiring multiple people around him at once, different types of brackets, things like that. How do you sort of, pick your poison against a player who is that elite at his craft?
Yeah, you're exactly right. He's the best in the world, so you better have a plan for him. And I know every team he plays against does. So that's the challenging part of the NFL. You go from playing one of the best tight ends in the league to now playing one of the best receivers in the league, and that's the challenging part, but that's also the fun part of it. We have guys that hopefully are ready to step up to the challenge, and they also have other great players. So, like you said, the more resources you put to stopping Justin Jefferson, now Jordan Addison's obviously a great player as well. Hawkinson, if he plays, you got the run. Aaron Jones, you got a bunch of guys that can make plays. So you got to be ready to mix up your looks and keep playing sound football.
With Troy Reader, DNP, I know it's a walkthrough. Who's handling comms for you guys?
We're working through it. A few options that we have, just kind of like we had going into the first game. We got a bunch of guys that are capable of doing it. So, no matter what, we'll be in good shape on game day.
Do you anticipate he'll be ready to go? Do you think another guy will get a chance there, or?
Troy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just, we'll test it out and see when whatever Reggie says we'll do. But, yeah, if he definitely is the case, if he's able to play, I know he will play. And, it's nice because he doesn't need those mental reps. He's been around for so long. He really, mental reps, he's good to go.
How would you explain Jalen McCullough's impact, how he's been able to kind of go from undrafted free agent to a guy making plays?
It's an amazing story, Gary. Like, he was an undrafted guy, like you said, and, obviously you don't do quite as much work on those guys, before they come in, so you don't know them quite as well as some of the other guys. But really within the first week, you noticed, how attentive he was in meetings. You kind of noticed how serious he was, how serious he took it, and he'd never changed his demeanor from all throughout OTAs, all throughout training camp, and you see that. Aaron Donald always said hard work pays off, and I definitely think that's the case for him.
Kobe Durant talked about how it's tough to be patient when you're not getting your hands on the ball, but he knows the importance of it. How have you seen him, just grow and develop this year to the point where the game he had on Sunday?
Yeah, he's he was excellent throughout the OTAs and training camp. He's always been one of the bright spots of the defense, and he's just got to let the games come to him. Some of these games we haven't been in position where you're necessarily forcing teams to throw, whether it's been on us putting them in that position or the score, whether it dictates. And fortunately, we were in that position for some of this game, and he's able to take advantage of it.
Kobe Turner said that one really significant positive thing that you guys did for the defense as a coaching staff was simplify some things, make things very clear, especially Green Bay onward. Are you able to share any more about how you did that and kind of amplifying that collective communication between all three levels?
Yeah, it just goes back to kind of like what we talked about last week, finding out what they do best and giving them a clear plan so they can go out and execute. And we're always trying to evolve, week to week and see what can they execute, what can they do, and what do they understand. And, sometimes, you try to stop every single little thing that the offense does. You can slow them down by putting too many thoughts in their head. So I think that might be what he's saying.
After the game, a couple of the guys were talking the emphasis during practice on taking the ball away. How do you do that in practice setting?
Yeah, exactly that. You just emphasize it, keep coaching it, keep talking about it, keep coaching, going after the ball, hands of the ball, rewarding them when they go to showing it in tape, showing takeaways around the league. So it's just like always kind of having it on your mind, you always just, you get what you emphasize, and hopefully when you emphasize, you think about it, hopefully they come. And fortunately last week they did.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Shoot.
No, Puka is listed as limited, but to have his window open, to have him back out, kind of at least taking part in some, some stuff. What was that like for you guys, and just sort of the lift of having someone with his energy back in the fold?
Yeah, I mean, obviously today, just being the week it is, I mean, it was just walk through and basically install on the field and stuff like that. But haven't seen him on the field since that Detroit Sunday night. So just to have him at least standing by us and designated to return, pretty good deal.
Is there a chance he plays on Thursday?
Way to be determined right now. I mean, he hasn't done anything full speed in forever, so a lot to determine there.
At this time of year, with the trade deadline coming up, lots of chatter and buzz about possible moves.
Sure.
Cooper's name has come up as an offensive coordinator preparing for a game. Does that have? Do you hear it, and does it have any impact?
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I live in, you try to block all that stuff out, but you obviously get knowledge of what's going on around the league, not just our team, but all the teams. But my role is not to worry about that stuff, so that's above my pay grade. I don't have, it's the good part about what my role is. I don't have to deal with it. So just happy that he's back out there right now for us.
How was he looked at? I know you guys didn't really talk much.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same kind of thing. I mean, neither one of those guys have, ran a lot of routes, since obviously the Arizona game for Cooper, Detroit in week 1 for Puka. But again, just to see him in a jersey, just being around his teammates and stuff like that, that's a boost in itself.
Because he's a veteran, I mean, obviously the injury is fickle that he had, but because he's a veteran, is there a concern about the level of workload for him right away, or is that not really being a factor?
Yeah, I mean, each player's different, right? Whether however old they are, how many years they played in the league, how their body's reacting to the time off and the rehab and all that kind of stuff. So again, you just listen to the player, you trust the player, especially a veteran like Coop. See where his body's at, and he's going to be truthful.
Yeah, sorry, I asked that in a bad way. Just in terms of how much he could handle, like right away, installing and all of those things.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, all these guys. I mean, as long as the foundation's right in terms of, for him since he's been here, but getting back in April and in May, all those you bank all those reps, So no, the schematic stuff, no problem for those guys.
What's the challenge of preparing for facing a Brian Flores defense in the short week?
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot and they do it well, and they're unique, obviously. So a lot of respect for B-Flow and what he's always done. Got a taste of it in 2021 when he was with Miami, and it's not fun to go against. And not only that, their players play really, really hard. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, both schematically and for our players. And our guys know that, and so they'll be ready to roll.
Teams who have moved the ball on them a bit this year have done so with the quarterback doing a lot of diagnosing and adjusting and mental stuff before the snap even happened. So having Matthew back there, having him seen as much football as he has, does that, I don't want to say edge because it's going to be a competitive game, obviously, but does that give you guys an extra tool to work with?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, not just against Beeflo and this defense. I mean, that's, you know, an edge is always Matthew's brain every single Sunday, you know, or in this case every Thursday. So, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, he's seen it all. Not that he's played Beeflo a ton, but, you know, again, just being in this league as long as he has, you know, every single week you're going to have an edge with, you know, how his mind works.
Do you, I know you weren't here, but do you guys go back as far as like when the Rams played the Dolphins in 2020 and look at that?
Yeah, you always use it as reference, you know, and you compare and contrast how they've evolved. I mean, obviously, you can take what you want from it from a schematic standpoint. A lot of new players, right? I mean, obviously, it's a different team. So, but to, you know, you click back into that and to kind of see, you know, what happened, how it's the same, how it's different, how it's evolved. Everyone evolves, and he's right there with the best of them in terms of evolving. I mean, their stuff is awesome. So, again, it'll be a big challenge.
When you say you can evolve the way he does, like how similar or different does it look to 2021?
Well, there's some similarities and there's some differences, you know. So not to get into all of it, I'm sure, you know, when Beeflo watches this, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, it's again, it's regardless of what we know and regardless of even what our players know, they got to go execute. You know, we got to go execute and we got to play extremely hard. And you know, the teams that haven't matched them physicality-wise, that haven't matched them intensity-wise, they've gotten blown out. You know, and so I know our guys will be ready to go, but again, a lot of respect for this crew.
How has Stafford looked? The reason I ask is came out of that Green Bay game getting hit a lot with back soreness.
Sure.
Said he's fine, but got hit a lot last against the Raiders, and now it's a short week. So what kind of have you seen?
He's a spry 36-year-old. So he's whatever he does, you know, on Mondays and today Tuesday to get himself ready. He loves ball. He's a competitor. You know, you'd have to ask these guys how they feel about Thursday games. But from my knowledge, especially a lot of the vets, they do actually like them. You know, it's a unique experience that you get to play, not just in, you know, a national audience, but in front of your peers. You know, you're the only game on, and I think that's the coolest thing, that the other 30 teams around the league get to watch, you know, this team and you know, these individual players go play. So it's a cool deal.
How did Justin Dietich look to you, and will you guys roll again with that combination?
Yes, still, to answer your second question, still, you know, talking about that, but you know, he battled, and I thought he just got better as the game went on. I thought he just kept, like I said, battling and competing and getting better and getting more comfortable as the game went on. So, you know, that's to be expected. And now, you know, if he gets that second start, you'd expect him just, hey, it's not the first time he's going out there for that first series, and just to have that comfort level of, hey, I belong, and you know, continue to improve. Good deal.
Thanks,
All right.
Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, hello.
What makes Brian Flores' defense come alive?
You know, I think they're a really physical unit, physical and fast. Try to, you know, force their hand on the offense and play with a lot of confidence when they do that. You know, they've got a bunch of smart, savvy players in the back end and some guys up front that rush the passer and stop the run at a high level. So that combination is what makes them good.
When you say force their hand, do they do that also with the looks that they present?
Yeah,
pre-snap?
of course. Yeah, absolutely. Looks they present pre-snap, post-snap, pressures, the illusion of pressure, all that kind of stuff. They do a good job of trying to apply pressure to an offense.
This time of year, the trade deadline approaching, a lot of buzz about possible player movement. Cooper's name seems to be surfacing a lot. Do you hear that, and how do you kind of handle it individually and maybe in conversation with him, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm a fan of the league, so you hear those things. But to be honest, we're pro athletes, we're professional football players. We've dealt with this kind of stuff before. I understand it comes with the territory. Don't put much into it because that's a disservice to, you know, what we got going on here. You know, we've got a short week and a really good opponent to, you know, try to prepare for. So that's our full focus. I know that's where he stays too. So don't worry too much about that stuff.
You have one of the youngest locker rooms in the NFL this year. Do you say anything to those young teammates about handling this time of year approaching the deadline?
No, I don't think it's. I think it's a bigger deal to you guys than it is to us.
Have you ever found yourself in those conversations?
Oh,
And how?
I don't know. Maybe you guys would have to fact check me on that. I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
But
If I was in there, I have forgotten about it.
But how do you kind of keep? How does a professional athlete keep that separate from trying to separate when it's all out, and especially in this day and age with social media when it's all out there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a lot easier for us to do than it probably is for family members and all that kind of stuff, right? They're spending all day on their phone looking at that stuff. We're spending all day looking at film, trying to get ready for an opponent. So that part of it, is it makes it easier for us.
You've obviously got an extensive inventory of defensive looks you've seen throughout your career. I guess relative to that and your experience, how unique is what this Vikings defense done under Flores?
Yeah, it's unique. He obviously has some background, in a few different places and kind of picks and chooses what he wants to take from those places. I think he's obviously a really sharp guy. He gets those guys to play really hard for him. They're in the right spots. They're really well coached. And, he's an aggressive guy by nature. And it shows through the tape, and their defense feeds off that.
On a short week, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. It's Tuesday, so I got some more time.
But not as much as usual.
Yeah, correct. No, but I'll be all right. I'll be good to go.
We see sometimes when we're out here and Sean's doing his presser, we see you with the
Mhm.
heavy ball against the thing. We hear it first.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I gotta get ready for practice.
Yeah. So do you truncate things? How do you kind of fit an entire week of recovery into just a couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of jam it all in as best you can, and know that come Thursday you're not going to feel like you normally feel on a Sunday. But I think about how I feel on Thursday practice. I feel pretty good, so I'll be all right. And at that point, it's a mindset, right? Like, they put the ball down on the tee, kick it off, and I don't care how you feel. It's time to go, and I know our guys understand that.
I know it was only a walkthrough, but how was it to have Puka kind of back, at least in the fold?
Yeah, I guess they activated his whatever 21-day clock or whatever that is. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think it's just great for him to kind of be back around in a huddle, hearing calls, walking around, doing all that kind of stuff. I know, we've missed him as a player, and I think he's missed the game a little bit, and his rehab is so, time-consuming and it takes away from his time with us, so it's great to have him back around.
How's Cooper looking? What kind of a difference can he make if he's out there on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, we've been walking around, this today. He got out there a little bit last week and ran around. I thought he was looking pretty good. I'm kind of lean on him, when it comes to that stuff. Hey, how do you feel? Because he always looks pretty good to me. So I think he's doing good and feeling pretty good.
With Puka, when a young person goes through something like that early, and sometimes you'd hear different teammates talking him up on the side.
Mm-hmm.
How has he sort of handled this? How have you reached him to just kind of help him on a mental level, kind of get through this?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one of the biggest challenges with having an injury that isn't something that's 1 week or something is there's times where you can feel like, man, you're not part of what's going on sometimes. And I've been there. I was there in 22. Towards the back half of that season, and it's a tough feeling. And so you just try to check on them as much as you can. We're all a supportive group around here. We all care for each other a bunch, and I'm checking on all those guys as much as I can just to make sure that they know that I'm thinking about them and that at some point or another they're going to be important to our team. And I think that's all you can do is try to support those guys and let them know that you're thinking about them and that whenever they're back, we'll be happy to have them back.
From a preparation standpoint, what's the value of having Cooper back out on the practice field, especially in terms of communicating things to the rest of the offense?
Yeah, no, he's an extension of what I do out there. We spend a lot of time together. We think a lot alike, and he's able to communicate and help me out, help all the guys in the offense out, and then obviously his presence in the just in the huddle out on the field means a lot to us as a group.
During his,
Couple more guys.
As he's been sitting out the last few weeks, has he still been involved in the game planning with you? I know you guys have good mornings.
Yeah, more so. Once he knew he was going to be out on the practice field, wanting to, really know what's going on, ins and outs of what we got going on. But he's always a true pro. But he has been around more lately. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Gary, I appreciate that energy. Thank you very much.
Cooper, what stands out to you about Brian Flores' defense? And it seems like it can shape shift a little depending on what you guys are doing having an offense to assert on the other side?
Yeah, man, got a lot of respect for what he's done just over the course of my 7.5 years of watching what he's been able to do and the way that his defenses play. But yeah, they've done a really good job. They pressure, they play together, they play hard. Guys fly around. They've even been able to adapt to some of the injuries, some of the things that have come about, and found some creative ways to continue to get pressure on offenses, and obviously create a great challenge. So I'm excited about being able to go through this short week and find ways to attack it, and yeah, it's obviously going to be a great challenge. So
what are some ways outside of pure one-on-one or chip blocking that can help mitigate pressure, inclusive to like at snap motion?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that, you can look at historically as what we've done is Sean talks about changing up the snap counts and changing up our tempos offensively, and I think that's something that we've prided ourselves on over the last few years, and there's more to it than just being able to put hands on guys and make sure that you can slow down rush, but being able to present different looks, being able to do a good job mixing up runs in the pass, being able to get tempo, all that stuff plays a part in that.
With the trade deadline approaching, your name is kind of circulating in the buzz. Are you aware of that? And if you are, how do you handle that?
Yeah, no, I'm aware of it, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm gonna be where my feet are. That's all I know. I have a job to do here, and I take a lot of pride in giving everything I can for the guys in this building, and being able to step on the field knowing that I've prepared the best I can. And for 7.5 years, I've been an LA Ram, and I've taken that approach every single day. And whatever happens outside of that, I got control what I can control, and right now that means being the best LA Ram that I can be, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Have the Rams spoken with you or your representatives about the possibility of trading you?
Yeah, nothing really. No, it is that time of the year. There's going to be rumors and things that go around, and like I said, I let that stuff as much as I can be in the background, and like I said, just kind of handle my business.
What has it been like the last week and a half, just being back on the field after missing several weeks?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. It was obviously kind of a weird thing last week of being able to get a little bit of practice time, and just trying to figure out what was going to be possible. Try to push it as much as we could, and ultimately, we gotta trust the team and the training staff that they know, and they're watching out for what's best and what's best for the team, and ultimately decided to end up pushing it to this week. But I was glad I was able to get some practice last week, because Thursdays we don't really afford you the opportunity to get those practices in. So it was good, but feeling really good and excited to get rolling here.
When did you find out you would be playing on Sunday?
I mean, really, it was all the way up kind of through the game, up until game day. Just like I was preparing as if I was going to play, and until they told me, "Hey, you're inactive," and I was just kind of counting on it being. There's always a belief that there's going to be a chance. So that was kind of my mindset with that.
How did it feel when you were out on the turf? Was that you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I did feel good, and it's tough because you get to the point like, hey, I could have probably said like, hey, I think by Sunday I'm gonna feel real good, but then what does that mean for the fact that I'm not gonna be able to take reps during the week? God forbid you aren't able to go, and what was the plan, and all of a sudden you're not available. There's just a lot of factors, a lot of things that go into play in that regard, and so I understand that, and yeah, it is what it is.
Understand it. It's not going to be totally. You probably have some input. In terms of your workload, do you feel like you could get back in for a full workload, or do you get the impression that maybe they're going to be a little bit more cautious?
Yeah, I don't like coming off the field. I would love to be able to play as much as I possibly could, and that's going to be my mindset. I mean, that's when I feel like I'm healthy. I feel like that's when I'm healthy, I can do it, and so that's been my mindset. But that's up to the coaches ultimately to decide, and the training staff, how they want to activate us, how they want to use us, and we've got some guys that have played some really good football the last couple of weeks too, and just figuring out what the best grouping is, what the best group of guys, how you want to get those guys on off the field, whatever it takes to get the LA Rams a W is ultimately what we want to do.
And the last couple of weeks, not just about you, but other guys who have been injured, Sean has talked about the return to performance versus return to play. What did you learn last year coming off that in your buckets?
Yeah, it is hard, but last year I felt pretty good coming off of the hamstring, and then there's stuff that happens during the course of the year that you just like shoot now because of whatever happened, the attrition of the year, you just aren't you're just not at your best. Just leave it at that. And but I understand that, and being able to have a full off season this year and being able to build that up and put the work in to set yourself up to go do something this year. I feel real confident about being able to come back now, knowing that I have that base and be able to play really good football.
It's struck me this afternoon. It's going to be you and Matthew, and then Witt's calling the game, and then like Johnny Munt and Cam Akers, but Kevin O'Connell on the other side, Wes. What have you thought about what that will feel? I mean, the last time you guys were all together in that stadium, it was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but obviously love those guys. I mean, we talk Kevin and Wes, and I believe Chris O'Hara's still over there as well, and there's just you go through all these experiences with them, and some of those guys with the highs and the lows, and you have so many memories of just the journey, the ins and outs of the meetings, and always gonna be cheering for those guys, except for on Thursday, obviously. But it will be nice to see them again and just shake their hands and talk a little bit. And it is special. It's special what this game is and what it provides to you, and just the relationships that are built just as you put together a plan and go through adversity, and being able to have people that you've like, man, we've gone through this together, and it builds a pretty cool bond. And so it's one of those cool things about football we get to sing on.
Forgive me, I know you don't often have time to watch a ton of other offenses, but with Kevin, have you watched at all any parts of it, and you see like a concept first, you're like, I know what that.
He's been using all of my stuff. So he's took all of my stuff from I showed him my high school playbook, and he's taking all of that stuff and he's implementing it. So Kevin, you're tricking these people, but I know we know the truth. Even just running my stuff over there. But he's been doing a really good job, and he obviously loved it when he was here. He had so many great ideas and was a huge part of doing things for us, and it's awesome seeing the success that he's had over there.
As you and Puka have worked your way back, how have all of you guys leaned on each other during that process?
Yeah, we're all so close. Guys rooting for each other. You know how Yarbs is. You can't be a part of that room and not be pulling for the guys that are sitting there next to you. And so doing everything we can for the guys that were out there playing, being able to be an asset. However that looked, very different than how you'd obviously ideally want to be providing, being a positive part of this team, but being there for those guys and just trying to help them succeed. And now hopefully being able to get out there this week and play a little bit, and we'll obviously see what's up with Puka, but it's just been a lot of fun having a group of guys like that. They're all pulling for each other. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.